The rainy city metaphor. Imagine a city that never stops. The towering skyscrapers, the endless hum of traffic, the relentless rain. In this world, there is a place everyone seeks, a warm room, a soft chair, a locked door. We call it comfort. It's the absence of threat. It's the reward for a hard day's work. But what if that warm room is actually a cage? What if the very thing we are taught to pursue, a life of ease and predictable routines, is the silent killer of our potential? Today, we are deconstructing the most seductive psychological phenomenon of the modern age, the comfort trap. We will explore why your brain is wired to keep you small and how to harness productive discomfort to finally break through the ceiling of your own performance.
The allure of the comfort trap. We are creatures of habit. Every morning, you likely follow the same path to the coffee machine, check the same 3 apps, and engage in the same safe conversations. This isn't just laziness, it's efficiency. Our brains represent only 2% of our body weight, but consume 20% of our energy. To survive, the brain creates shortcuts, routines that require zero conscious thought. The comfort trap is the seductive pull of these easy routines. It feels like fine, it feels like steady, but under the surface, it secretly stifles growth. When nothing is new, the brain begins to prune its own connections. If you aren't using your capacity to adapt, you are losing it. Evolutionarily, seeking the path of least resistance was a masterstroke. For our ancestors, discomfort often meant a predator, a freezing night, or starvation. If you found a cave that was safe, you stayed there. But in 2025, our environment has changed, while our biology hasn't. We no longer face saber-toothed tigers. We face uncomfortable emails or the stress of a new skill. Our brain treats these modern challenges with the same ancient fear. This survival mechanism has become a performance bottleneck. It's why you hesitate to start that ambitious project, or why you'd rather scroll through 15-second clips than read a challenging book. You aren't being lazy. You are being hijacked by an ancient operating system that prioritizes not dying over truly living. In the modern world, the comfort zone has gone digital. It's sticking to safe projects at work where you know you won't fail, but you also won't learn. It's avoiding the gym because the burn feels like a threat. It's passive consumption, watching others live their lives on a screen while yours remains static. We've built a society that optimizes for convenience, and in doing so, we've accidentally optimized for stagnation.
Unmasking productive discomfort. If comfort is the trap, what is the escape? It isn't chaos. It isn't burnout. It's something we call productive discomfort. Productive discomfort is the deliberate embrace of challenging states for the specific purpose of growth. It is a controlled, intentional lean into the friction of life. It's the difference between being forced to run because you're being chased, unhealthy stress, and choosing to run a marathon to see what you're made of, productive discomfort. We must make a vital distinction here. Productive discomfort is not about grinding yourself into the dust. It's not about hustle culture until your mental health collapses. Burnout occurs when stress is chronic, uncontrollable, and purposeless. Productive discomfort is the opposite. It is acute, controlled, and deeply purposeful. It's about hormetic stress, the biological concept where a small dose of a stressor actually makes the organism stronger. What happens in your brain when you step outside the lines? When you struggle to learn a new language or attempt a complex task, your brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals, adrenaline for focus, and BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is like fertilizer for your neurons. It allows for neuroplasticity, the physical rewiring of your brain. By pushing your boundaries, you aren't just learning, you are physically upgrading your biological hardware.
The science of growth through strain. Psychologists often speak of three zones: the comfort zone, the stretch zone, and the panic zone. The comfort zone, no growth happens here. The panic zone, too much stress. The brain freezes, no learning occurs. The stretch zone, this is the sweet spot. In the stretch zone, the task is just slightly beyond your current ability. You might fail a few times. You feel that sting in your chest, but this is where expertise is born. Research into flow states suggests that for optimal performance, the challenge should be roughly 4% greater than your current skill level. Expertise isn't about how many years you've done something. It's about how many hours you've spent in the stretch zone. This is called deliberate practice. It requires you to actively seek out the parts of a task that you are bad at. Look at the greats. Athletes like Kobe Bryant didn't just play basketball. They isolated their weakest movements and repeated them in the cold, dark hours of the morning until the discomfort disappeared. Innovators and artists don't repeat their hits. They actively destroy their old styles to find something new. They don't just tolerate discomfort, they use it as a compass. If it feels easy, they know they're wasting time.
Practical strategies for embracing the edge. So, how do we apply this? You don't start by jumping into the deep end. You start by lowering the activation energy. Author Sean Aker discusses the 20-second rule. The idea is that we often avoid productive discomfort because the setup is too hard. If you want to practice guitar, don't keep it in the case in the closet. Put it in the middle of the room. If you can reduce the time it takes to start a difficult task by just 20 seconds, you bypass the brain's avoidance trigger. Here are 3 ways to introduce productive discomfort today. The feedback loop. Ask a colleague for the one thing they think you could do better. The sting of the critique is the feeling of a growth opportunity. The novelty task. Take on one responsibility this week that you have 0 experience with. The physical reset. Take a cold shower or do a high-intensity workout. Remind your body that temporary discomfort is not danger. The most powerful tool is a shift in perspective. Most people feel the pit in their stomach and think, "Stop, I'm failing." The high performer feels that same pit and thinks, "Good, my brain is about to upgrade." Reframe discomfort as a signal of progress. If you aren't feeling a little bit of friction, you are essentially standing still. Sustaining peak performance. Consistent productive discomfort has a compounding effect. Just like compound interest in a bank account, the resilience you build today makes the challenges of next year feel like a breeze. Over time, your comfort zone actually expands. Things that used to terrify you become your new baseline. But beware of comfort creep. Success is often the biggest enemy of growth. Once you achieve a goal, the temptation is to settle in and protect what you've built. This is where comfort creep begins. It's the gradual return to complacency. To stay at the top, you must be willing to be a beginner over and over again. You must kill your own ego before the world does it for you. A vision for the future. Imagine a life where growth is your default setting, where you don't run from the rain, you learn to navigate it. A life where you have a healthy, functional relationship with challenge. The allure of the comfort trap will always be there, whispering that you should stay inside where it's warm. But the version of you that you've always dreamed of, the one with the skills, the resilience, and the impact, lives outside, in the cold, on the edge of what you think is possible. Next time you feel that urge to take the easy path, stop. Recognize it for what it is, a biological ghost. Step into the stretch zone. Embrace the friction, because on the other side of discomfort isn't just success, it's a version of yourself you haven't even met yet.